Go ahead with your questions.
Hey, Kyle, as far as Jeff Wilson, he seemed to be closer to his pre-injury form. Just wondering what your observations of him were.
Yeah, we were saying the same thing. He looked better in practice this week, and it got to carry over to the game. And I think he looked healthier and looked like he's getting his legs back under him too.
Kyle, Jimmy was very efficient in the 2-minute drill, and he tends to be that way. Is there anything you can put your finger on as to why he's so efficient in the 2-minute drill? And I don't know, not necessarily saying that he's not in regular game time, but how he's so much more efficient there.
I don't know. I mean, Jimmy's got some real good throwing ability. When we go there, it's usually we need it. You got to cut it loose and make plays, and he's had some success with that. We've done it sometimes in situations when it's not 2-minute, but it's all or nothing when it's those moments. So he's going to make some plays and try to avoid the bad ones.
Do you think it's partially the pressure that maybe he thrives underneath that?
I think so. I mean, I think Jimmy, I think he does really good in those situations. The game never seems too big for him. When you're going fast and stuff, there's not a lot of time to sit there and think. You just react. And usually when Jimmy's reacting, he's letting it rip and not hesitating. He's pretty automatic.
After I know you've of Ambry Thomas, you said that he did some really good things. Obviously his mistakes were amplified with those reversals of big plays by the defense. What did you see from his play?
I liked how he looked out there. I thought it was the best that I've seen him look. The way he was throwing his body around, made some tackles. I thought he was really good in his jams off the line of scrimmage. So good he got 2 penalties from it. He's just got to lower his target area because he was jamming the receivers pretty as good as I feel like we've had. Keeping him from getting off the line, and he had 2. One that slipped up to the face mask, one that hit the guy in the chin, which were penalties, but I liked his intent on the plays. He wasn't trying to hide. He was putting himself out there and going against a real good receiver. Got him a couple times, but I thought there was a number of times he covered real well that you don't see the ball thrown there because he is covering well. And first game, and there's a lot to learn from it, but I was very encouraged with it.
Kyle, Tom Compton has run blocked very well, especially he was out in front of that Debo touchdown. I know you worked with him before in Washington. How has he made such big strides in that facet of the game?
I think he's just gotten more consistent. I was with Tom. We drafted him in Washington. Was with him a little bit in Atlanta too. And Tom's, he's been so versatile. He's played so many different positions in his career. He's really helped out everywhere except center. Played it and started games at all those spots. But, this year and since he's been here, I think really been able to hone in on tackle, always ready for guard if we need it, but being able to do that tackle spot and getting back with Chris Furster, who was his original coach in Washington. He knows what we're asking from him. He knows what we want him to do, and he's been working at it for a while. And I do feel he's playing as good as he has in his career.
Might be more of a Richard Hightower question, but with Mitch and his punts, I know he's got so many tricks in his bag. Was he doing anything special on the 2 that ended up in muffs?
You can ask Richard that when he goes, but he does. His punts are always hard to catch, and I don't have a lot of experience since sophomore year in high school returning punts. Pretty good ones back then, but I talked to Wes Welker, who did it his whole career and was one of the most trusted guys, and tells me that Mitch's ball is the hardest he's ever had to catch. Ways it can knuckle, the way it can move, especially when you get in some elements where it's wind and at night and stuff. I don't know if he did it exactly, his hard ones on those 2 specific ones, but wouldn't surprise me because I hear about it from Wes all the time, and you can see it.
Kyle, on the trick play that you ran where Ayuk was looking to throw, obviously there was nothing there downfield for him, but how important was it, in terms of game flow and momentum for you guys that he was able to salvage that, not take a loss, and I think get those 4 yards?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, trick plays, they're hit or miss, and they're tough to call because when they don't hit, a lot of times it's disastrous and can drive. be able to call that play, take our shot. We didn't get what we wanted. They defended it well, and Ayuk still found a way to get 4 yards out of it. I thought big-time play by him. Was very aware on it.
And can you also
make
speak
those
to
plays,
Brandon
you're in a lot more trust. Sorry, what did you say?
Can you just speak to Brandon Ayuk gaining more trust with you and his improvement since the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I mean, Ayuk's just each week now, and it's been a number of weeks in a row. I mean, I think you guys know when I started talking about it. It's probably been over the last 6 weeks, but getting better every time he plays football, whether it's practice or whether it's games. And it wasn't that way early on in camp. Not from a lack of effort, but just there's been something here that is just attention to detail and the littler things that's been very impressive. And very smart guy. I think he's grown up a lot in these last few months, just communicating with the quarterbacks better, with the coaches, and really fun to coach here. And fun to watch him have some success doing it. And me and the whole team is appreciating it.
Kyle, with the recent uptick in COVID around the league, are you guys doing anything different, doing anything more virtual or anything like that?
We haven't yet. I mean, we just got back from our trip late last night, so everyone got tested today, and everyone had to be done by 2. So odds are that some people could have came in late, and we're still waiting for the results back. But as long as we don't have any positives and stuff from our situation, we shouldn't have to change up. We've been pretty good with it, and I think we're fortunate the area we live in. I know some other parts of the country are definitely a lot harder to have the luck that we have had, but we wouldn't do anything drastically until there's evidence that it got in our building.
When you talk about almost a guarantee that you're going to win if you don't commit turnovers, I know you always want to avoid turnovers, and you're always telling that to your team, but do you coach that way sometimes? Is there a way to, even emphasize that more in the way you're coaching, the way plays you're calling, the things you're doing, specifically offensively?
Oh, yes, without a doubt. I mean, that's something I don't think I was always as good at, when I was younger, but you just learn that through experience and stuff that I think we're 12-1 here since 2019 when we don't have any turnovers. I think the one game that we lost was our first game last year versus Arizona at home in the empty stadium and stuff. I think we had a blocked punt, which is almost a turnover, but there wasn't a technical turnover. And that's the only one we lost here. And know that, and you can't just sit there and just say, guys, don't turn it over. Guys are still going to try to make plays and still try to do all the stuff that puts points on the board, which is hard to do. But you can definitely be better in how you call a game. You do things that are necessary. You got to know when to take your shots. You don't want to take some that are low percentage. You got to call them at the right time, and you got to call them if they're necessary. Sometimes you don't need to do it. You feel you're in a certain type of game that you'll win this game unless you give up a turnover, you give up a punt return or something like that. And those are ways you got to protect it as a coach. I didn't know that stuff as much when I was younger in my career. A couple years as a coordinator in Houston, put up really good numbers all the time. And we had a really good offense throwing the ball and stuff, but struggled to win games. And they had too many turnovers, didn't run the ball well enough. And I feel like turnovers and running the ball well usually equals wins. And that's what you try to do the most, is how you build your team. And you also hope to call a game that way, too.
Kyle, you were wearing an 88 pin yesterday. You didn't necessarily overlap with Demaryius Thomas in Denver, but can you talk about your connection with him?
Yeah, I don't personally have a connection with him. I know so many people that are so close to him. Just me being from Denver and a bunch of my good friends who I have there who are really good friends with him. I know how much they've been hurt in these last couple of days. Talking to people who played in Denver. I mean, I have a lot of family members out there, not just from my wife's family's from there. I know my brother and sister-in-law, they used to live close to him, and how Demaryius knew their kids and how nice he was to their kids. And I've heard this from so many different people, and I know how hard, and it was really tough on Wes Welker this weekend, really tough on Orlando Franklin, guys who played with him. and I just am close to so many people and know him that I asked Wes. I knew Wes was doing it because he had a personal relationship with him, but I just asked Wes if he thought that was something that his family would want to see, and he said yes, and very happy to do it, and a horrible thing that happened.
We'll do 2 more, guys.
Just to clarify with Fred Warner, do you expect him to be ready to go this week?
I expect him to be, but you never know. So and it wasn't a high ankle sprain; it was a low ankle sprain, and he did go back and finish the game. So I'm expecting to be fine, but we'll see as the week plays out.
With the injuries to linebacker, what's Greenlaw's status this week?
He has a chance, but been bothering him all year. We got 2 games here in the next 10 days, so we'll see what he does on the field today and tomorrow, and got a chance to get into practice this week, then he will have a chance. But so I'm not counting on it, but I hope it does happen.
You mentioned yesterday if you just win games, you'll take care of business, but you're sitting in the 6th seed now at 7-6. Do you think about how good it would be to get to 5, how important just positioning is over these last 4 games?
I personally don't think about positioning at all. I just think of how to get there. I mean, if we were guaranteed, we were locked in there and that was done, then my mind would probably move to positioning and what we thought gave us the best advantage. But main thing you always look at is just how you get a home game, and that's far away from looking at that way. So no, I haven't considered anything except win enough games so they tell us we're in, and when we're in, then probably have another thought after that.
Kyle, do you guys have to make a decision on D Ford by Wednesday or on Wednesday?
Yeah, I believe we got to make it by Wednesday, and yeah, we'll see what goes. That's something that I never can predict. But I'll be surprised if he's back. I think we'll just have to continue playing without him.
Good.
Thank you, guys.